The 10 most dangerous roads in the world may not be for what you'd expect. More on that in a bit. In the US, the most dangerous road, I-95, gets its name because of speeding and reckless driving. So the fault of riders and drivers. Our safety is almost within our control, but globally, it's not the fault of the rider. It's the road. At about 1,300 miles long, this road sees about 7,500 fatalities per year. Wrecked vehicles scattered along the highway are common. Landslides and rock avalanches occur frequently along this route. It traverses numerous rivers alongside primeval forests with plenty of difficult terrain. It's at 29,000 feet above sea level. To give you an idea of just how high that is, helicopters can reach about 25,000 feet high, but most only go up to about 10,000 feet. Commercial airplanes fly around 30 to 40,000 feet high. Commercial airplanes can keep oxygen levels normal with cabin pressurization. For someone in a car or a motorcycle, oxygen levels are very low, reaching half of what they are at sea level. Add on to that 99 switchbacks, a hazardous bridge, regular landslides from the cliffs, and drivers face continuous surveillance by the army at the pass, operating around the clock. So you better behave when you're there. Countless news stories on this road in India show hundreds of riders and drivers plummeting to their death. This is a vital passage for the movement of military troops and commodities, especially in the winter when substantial snowfall make alternative routes almost impossible. The pass remains highly vulnerable to avalanches and landslides, but change is on the horizon. In 2018, the government of India approved the ambitious Zojila Tunnel project, an engineering marvel that will slash the time to cross the pass from over 3 hours to just under 15 minutes. The remoteness of this road poses its own danger. Speeds skyrocket on this road. Highway 5 in Chile spans over 2,000 miles from Arica to Quellón. By the way, if my pronunciation is really off in any of these, I'm really sorry. I've tried looking up as many pronunciations as possible, but some I just can't find. Plus, high winds strong enough to blow cars off the road are a constant threat. I know what that's like. The monotonous and mono-hued landscape can induce a state of hypnosis. So it's really important to remain focused and really difficult to keep that on this road. Known locally as Ruta Nacional 5, the stretch between Arica and Iquique is notorious for its dangerous twists and turns. The speed limit of 62 miles per hour may seem inviting, but the occasional car or van carcass serves as a chilling reminder of the risks. With its barren landscapes and frequent dense fog, losing concentration is all too easy. One moment of distraction could lead to disaster, plunging you into the abyss on either side. The construction of Taroko took over 450 lives. Prior to the 1950s, only a simple trail traversed the gorge. Chiang Kai-shek, the former president of the Republic of China, made the decision to construct a road spanning Taiwan from west to east, cutting through the Central Range. Over a span of 4 years, from 1956 to 1960, soldiers of the Nationalist Army undertook the task of building this road. But amidst this chaos lies an engineering marvel, a highway cutting through mountains, linking the east and west coast from Sinchan Township to Renai. It's a breathtaking journey, but one fraught with danger at every turn. What makes this road so perilous? Heavy rain in typhoon season, dislodging debris onto the already precarious path. Add to that the looming threat of seismic activity, which could cause the walls of nearby gorges to crumble as you're driving on it. N2 Highway in South Africa is one of the most dangerous roads in the country. With over 1,000 deaths a year, the highway is widely known for its fatal dangers and not for the reasons you may think. It's a perfect storm for speeding cars, careless pedestrians, distracted drivers, wild animals, and high traffic volumes. According to the Road Traffic Management Report for 2015, there were 10,000 fatal crashes documented the previous year, resulting in almost 13,000 deaths. Among those, pedestrians accounted for about 37%. James Dalton Highway in Alaska, also known as Alaska Route 11. Built in 1974 to support the Trans-Alaska Pipeline System, this legendary road spans 414 miles, linking Fairbanks to the oil fields of the north. You may have recognized it from Zach and Ari's road trip to Alaska. Named after James Dalton, the Alaska-born engineer who oversaw its construction, this 2-lane gravel road runs parallel to the pipeline, serving as a vital supply route amidst its bleak and isolated surroundings. With huge trucks dominating the traffic and survival supplies a must. From crossing the Yukon River to navigating the towering Brooks Range, every mile of the Dalton Highway is an epic adventure. But with fuel stops few and far between, steep gradients, and treacherous conditions, only the most seasoned pros with modified trucks should attempt this journey. I-95, US. This one may surprise some people, but I-95 is actually the most dangerous road in the US. No, not the tail of the dragon with its tree of shame or warning signs about accidents for motorcyclists. In 2019, I-95 recorded the highest total fatalities of 284 people, or 15 per every 100 miles. That's about 5 deaths a week. Sure, it's a lot less than some of the other roads in this video, but the thing about I-95 is that these deaths are not primarily the road's fault. It's the drivers and the riders. A significant portion of these accidents take place in the Northeast during the winter, and Florida, particularly in Jacksonville and Brevard County, right outside of Orlando. And Florida has no helmet laws. For every 100 fatal motorcycle accident where the rider wasn't wearing a helmet, 37 of those deaths could have been avoided if they had just worn a helmet. But here's where things look up a little. Bear with me for a minute. I-95 has stretches of practical lawlessness with little to no law enforcement patrolling the areas. So drag races, high-speed weaving, reckless driving, they're all common on I-95, and that's the main cause of the accidents. So that means, at least here, but maybe not for the Road of Bones or Death Road, which is coming up next. Your safety is largely within your control. Just looking at US accident statistics, by reducing your speed, not riding tired or under the influence, you reduce your chances of being in an accident by almost half. So what else can you do? You can wear bright colors and avoid riding at dusk. And this one, many people don't know this. Did you know that your glasses or sunglasses can shatter in an accident? You don't want that near your eye. I know of at least 2 riders that have gotten in accidents while wearing glasses, and it was not good. One of them, a piece of glass was lodged in her skull. The other one, a piece of glass was lodged in her eye. Luckily, she didn't lose her vision, but she could have. If you're a rider who wears prescription glasses or sunglasses, please, for the love of God, make sure they're shatterproof. I've got a discount code for you for the ones that I wear because they actually fit in your helmet, whether or not your helmet has slits to make sure they fit. They're so thin you barely even feel them, so please just get it down below. Colma Highway in Russia, also known as the Road of Bones. Stretching from the city of Yakutsk, where the coldest temperature on record outside of Antarctica was recorded, to the remote outpost of Magadan in Russia. Built by prisoners using hand tools in the 1930s, the Colma Highway marks one of the most haunting times in Soviet history. It winds its way through the desolate Russian Far East, earning its nickname Road of Bones from the people who died during its construction. Some consider the road a memorial because it's estimated that around 250,000 to 1 million people died building it. And these people are either buried beneath or around it. That's a pretty big gap of people unaccounted for. The area is essentially lawless, underdeveloped, and sparsely inhabited. This area used to be one of the largest gulag distribution centers in the former USSR. In 2020, a teenager froze to death by using Google Map directions to use the shorter but abandoned section via TomTour, on which his car broke down and the surviving passenger lost most of his limbs due to frostbite. In 2008, the road underwent upgrades, resulting in the abandonment of a 200-kilometer stretch between TomTour and Kadic-Chan. This section, now known as the Old Summer Road, has been reclaimed by the Siberian wilderness, with collapsed bridges, flooded paths, and deserted structures. The road poses still more hazards. During rainy periods, the usual clay surface transforms into an impassable mud trap, With sections of the road reclaimed by streams and washed out bridges, standard vehicles have trouble navigating the terrain. Extreme temperatures, heavy snowfall, and reduced visibility add to the problems, while the summer months bring excessive mud. Despite being one of the world's most desolate roads, its tragic history remains largely unknown to travelers. Traveling is only feasible in dry summers or frozen winters. Outdated maps, unsafe driving practices, and encounters with wildlife further add to the risks, making each journey along this road a battle. And going back to the tail of the dragon with its dangerous reputation. So, a lot of these roads have deaths within the hundreds and thousands per year. Tail of the Dragon has had 29 deaths in the past 11 years, but 28 of those deaths were motorcyclists. And the most common cause of those accidents was speeding. So please, riders, save that for the track. The North Yungas Road in Bolivia. A road nicknamed Death Road by locals can't be good. For decades, this road caused between 230 deaths a year. 43 miles of winding switchbacks where fog, landslides, waterfalls, and 2,000-foot cliffs are common. Back in the 1930s, Paraguayan prisoners carved this path during the Chaco War, linking Bolivia's capital, La Paz, to the town of Corocoy. The hairpin turns are barely wide enough for a single vehicle. Merchants on this road will risk it all, cramming into trucks and buses to transport their goods from the Amazon rainforest to the capital, but many never make it. Finally, in 2006, a new route was built, offering safer passage through the mountains. Kilar to Panji Road via Kishvar. I couldn't find the pronunciation for that one, right? Known as the Cliffhanger, or also Death Road, like the one in Bolivia we just talked about. This road stands as one of India's most dangerous roads, challenged by many motorcyclists. Hundreds of deaths have been recorded over recent years. Tales of a typical journey include drivers having to reverse several hundreds of meters just to find a passing spot. A 32-mile stretch took one driver 8 hours to navigate in the snow. Forming part of National Highway 26, it links the dense forests of Kishvar and Kashmir with the Panji Valley, connecting the two states. Due to its risks, the Cliffhanger remains relatively untraveled compared to other Himalayan routes. Spanning nearly 150 miles along the edge of a steep gorge, this hazardous road earned its nickname from its narrow path, often carved out of sheer cliff faces. With tight switchbacks and steep inclines, the Cliffhanger ascends from over 5,000 feet in Kishvar to 8,000 feet in Kilar. One mistake could send riders plummeting 2,000 feet into the Chenab River. Globally, about 35% of roads are paved, and only about 50% are accessible year-round. I actually would have thought that would be much smaller. But I bet many roads may not be officially accounted for. And what about the roads and paths we just make up? If anything, hearing about this list makes me really appreciate the well taken care of roads at our disposal. Roads where things like proper trail etiquette are emphasized, just to keep things safe for others, where the highest risks are within the rider's control. Because when our roads are safe, the risk of accidents can actually be drastically reduced with just a few things we can do. You can learn more about that in this video next.